सर्वेभ्यो नमस्कारः अंदरिकी नमस्कारमुलु Today is the second day of our classes, advanced level 2 course batch 2 of certificate course on Sanatana Dharma. Yesterday we had introduction to Vedas. Now today we will go more deep into various topics today, tomorrow, after by Dr. CSR Prabhu garu. We will start the session with Vande Mataram, paying our respects to our country. Requests Challa Chitti Babu garu to start the chanting, please.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malayaj Sitalam, Sasya Syamalam Mataram, Vande Mataram. Subrajyosna pulakitayaminim pullakusumita drumadala shobhinim suhasinim sumadhura bhashinim sukhadam varadam mataram vande mataram. Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram. ధన్యవాదములండి. So let us request Jayashree garu to chant Prarthana, please.
Namaskaram, sir. Andarki. First, meditation for 1 minute. Sit straight, close your eyes. Three times Omkaram. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatikum Havamahe Kavim Kavinamupamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatana Shrivanyotipisita Sadhanam. Om Shri Mahaganadhipataye Namaha. Om Prano Devi Saraswati Bhadevi Padinipati Dhinamavityavato. Om Shri Mahasaraswati Namaha. Gurudeva Gati Gurumeva Bhaje Gurunaiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave. न गुरो परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरो मां पाहि गुरो ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव अतिथिदेवो भव ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्
ధన్యవాదములండి జయశ్రీ గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Thank you, sir.
ఓకే, నా నమస్కారం అండి ప్రభు గారు.
Namaskaram.
So today the webinar is taken by Dr. CSR Prabhu garu on Vedas. Before that, actually he doesn't need any introduction to any of you because you met him. Maybe for one or two people who needs it, I'll very briefly introduce. He is our course academic director and also is a yoga guru, is chairman of VSS Yoga Vidyapith, and he is the retired director general of NIC, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, New Delhi, and he worked in various capacities in corporate like TCS, CMC, TES, telco, and he has the faculty of programs of APO, Asian Productivity Organization, and represented India on various international panels at Venture 2004, held by APO Osaka, Japan. He taught and researched at the University of Central Florida, Orlando, and also had a brief stint as a consultant in NASA. Okay, Prabhu garu is unanimously elected and served as chairman of Computer Society of India, Hyderabad chapter, and he has been a director in KMT also. He obtained his master degree in electronics engineering and specialization in computer science from Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, after a bachelor degree from JNTU. And he has guided a large number of students' research projects at master level and has published several papers. And as I said already, he is our course academic director and chairman of VSS Yoga Vidyapith. He will be taking classes on various subjects, mostly covering all of the topics, and plus he will be also covering yoga classes, which will start every Monday and Thursday for the first 1 month. Okay, with this very brief introduction, let us request Prabhu garu to start the webinar, please.
Okay. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsarshibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha. So, after prostrating to all our gurus from whom we have learnt, we'll now start the lecture on Vedas today and tomorrow also. The word Veda has the root dhatu, with jnane, and with sataya. Two meanings are there. It means, with means to know, and it also means to exist, vidyate. So, Veda is a noun form of with, that is, it means knowledge. And it also means existence, sataya, vidyate. So, if you take these two meanings, then it means it is a repository of knowledge and it is existence. If you combine these two meanings, it shows that it is a repository of knowledge of existence, whatever exists. So if you go further, the knowledge model which we have today is based on, let us say, internet, social networks, and AI, chat GPT, or Meta, or Gemini agents. This is the knowledge model. That means if suppose you are teaching our students, today it is assumed that they will use AI agents like chat GPT or Gemini or Meta, and they will definitely use social networks, Facebook, YouTube, like we are all using YouTube. And of course, we use email. We are logging on using the Zoom or Google Meet. So this is the kind of environment in which we are living today. So the knowledge model is based upon these contents of this environment. Whereas if you go back to 50 years, say in my childhood, I am now 71. See, in my student days, none of these things exist. Even email was not there. Even before 1990, email was not there. Internet was not there. Social networks were not there, let alone the latest AI agents. So we had only books and we had the examinations, which are not open book examinations, they were closed book examinations. And yet we acquired knowledge because the knowledge model was different. Please understand this. So the knowledge model, if you go back even before, say, 100 years, 200 years, what was it? There were no books also at one point of time. Say, if you go back, say, 5,000 years. So Pandavas or Kauravas, did they read the books, printed books? There was no printed book. They knew the script and writing. The Indus script was there. But it was used very limitedly on rocks. So how did they learn any subject? Because definitely they had to learn. The knowledge model was there. The education system was there. So they learned in a different knowledge model. So knowledge management, which is internalization of knowledge, externalization of knowledge, and socialization of knowledge. This knowledge model was different, it was there. And so we find the Veda coming into picture as a knowledge model of the ancient times. They were learning by chanting Veda. So all the intellectual or semi-intellectual classes of the society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, they were compulsorily required to learn Veda by chanting, oral chanting. And of course, the non-intellectual or non-academic class of society, they were not required. They were free to go ahead and perform their professions like agriculture or other things which don't require. But they also went through a village school where they were taught how to read and write and how to calculate. In fact, there was a paper which was presented in Singapore in a United Nations conference to prove that the illiteracy in India came only because of the English education. There was no illiteracy in India before that. Before the British introduced English education system in 1817, there was no illiteracy in India whatsoever, zero, because all the people either went to Veda Pathshalas, which were around 5 lakhs Veda Pathshalas in the whole country, or they went to Vidhi Badi or village school, depending on what they wanted to learn. If they wanted to learn Vedas, they went to Veda Pathshalas. If they wanted to learn only basics, 3 hours, read, write, and they will go to village school, Veda Vidhi Badi. There were no illiteracy. Everybody knew how to read and write, how to add and subtract, how to carry on with life. So, and all the education was free. When the British started the English education as compulsory and prohibited, banned all other education. In 1817, they issued an order, Indian Education Act. They prohibited all education except English education. So we have the English education model, British education. So Macaulay brought this British education policy, and he declared that if my education policy is followed after 200 years, we'll have brown English men and women who speak, think, and act like English men and women. That's exactly what we are doing. We're talking in English. We are thinking, behaving like Englishmen. And of course, he made it very clear that by doing so, Macaulay wanted to have British colonization as a permanent feature. But that was overcome by the freedom struggle. Now, why I'm telling all this is how the Veda was at the center of the education system. Most of the people who learned in the Pathshalas, they learned chanting of the Veda. The knowledge model was based on chanting. So you should understand that this was the system for a very long period. If you take the Kali Yuga, it's about 5,000 years already. And before that, the Dwapara Yuga, before that, the Treta Yuga, before that, the Krita Yuga. In all these yugas, the Veda was the basis of knowledge model. So the education system was based upon the Veda learning. So therefore, the Veda was the central foundation of all education and knowledge transactions, knowledge management. What is knowledge management? Knowledge management is internalization of knowledge, externalization of knowledge, and socialization of knowledge. So this Veda model, once you look at the entire education system based on the Veda, then you'll understand how important was Veda. And it was not on the books. There was no written record of Veda till Max Muller. Max Muller was the first one who printed it against the rules. So the Veda was there before Max Muller in this creation, right from the beginning of creation. It is said that when creation started, Veda was there. And because of the Vedic statements, the creation took place. And the creation steps are explained in the rituals of Veda. That various yajnas and yagas are actually depicting the creation processes. They're simulating. Okay, now I will get into the core model of Veda as an integrated framework. Till now, I told you Veda is a knowledge model. That means people learned, heard, it's called Shruti. Then they chanted, then they taught to their next generation. And the people who were teachers were the Brahmanas. The word Brahmana means Brahmam Janatiti Brahmana. He who has knowledge of Brahman. The word Brahman has two meanings. One is the supreme being. The other is Veda. The word Brahma also means Veda. So a person who has learned and who has the knowledge of the Veda is called Brahmana. And these two meanings are related because Veda talks about Brahma only. Brahma means two meanings are there. Chaturmukha Brahma, the creator of the universe, is not a human being. Second is Parabrahman or absolute reality, Om, whose manifestation is this universe, creation, sustenance, and dissolution. So Brahman is defined as that from which everything in the universe itself gets created, gets sustained, and gets absorbed back when it is dissolved by death. So birth, sustenance, and death of everything in the universe. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yasmin pravishanti tad Brahma. That is the definition of Brahma. And Veda is also known as Brahma because it is describing that Brahman in various ways. So Brahmam janati iti Brahmana. Brahmana is a person who has the knowledge of Brahman. So once he knows that, he can teach others. So the Brahmana class was the teacher class. And all the others learned in the Veda Pathshalas or in the street schools, whatever subjects they are required to learn, they want to learn, which are useful to them. For example, around 100 professions are there. Vocational professions like agriculture, horticulture, and we have metallurgy, we have carpentry, we have building construction, we have architecture, so many and so on. All these 100 professions were the Shudra professions. They were practicing it. They learned it from childhood, from very birth onwards, they were trained in their own family by their own father and mother. And they were also educated in the basic education in the street schools in every village. So there was no illiteracy, and the other three castes were educated in Veda Pathshalas. Even though Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, they were Kshatriyas, they also went to Veda Pathshalas to study the Veda chanting, along with the Brahmana students. And the beginning of that Veda Pathshala education is Upanayanam. By performing the Upanayanam, the student becomes eligible or start on that day onwards with the Gayatri Mantra Upadesha. That's called Brahmopadesha. Because Gayatri Mantra is the essence of the Vedas. So Veda Upadesha, the whole chanting process, the Vedic education system starts around the age of 8. And it will go on for till the age of 22 or so. This was not exactly happened in the case of all people. Along with Krishna, Sudama was also there. He was a Brahmana boy. He also learned Vedic chanting. Krishna also learned. And Krishna himself tells Sudama was doing better. And in addition to the Vedic chanting, they taught the Vedas and they taught Vedangas, which we'll be studying. Then they taught the Vedanta also, Upanishads also, then they taught 64 arts. So the whole ancient education system was there with all these things. And now coming to the contents of the Veda. The main model of Veda is chanting. Chanting means it has pitch. It is like high pitch, low pitch, and middle pitch. High pitch is called Udatta, low pitch is called Anudatta, medium is called Swarita. Uchchair Udattaha, Nishair Anudattaha, Samahara Swaritaha, Panini Sutras are there. So they were singing Veda. They were not chanting just like prose. They are not prose. Some portions are also prose, very little. Like Ishavasya Upanishad is a part, the only Upanishad which is part of the Veda, which is Vajasameya Shukla Yajurveda, and it is prose. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyan jagat. But all others are poetry, hymns, like Purusha Sukta. Tomorrow we will cover some of the Suktas. Purusha Sukta, Narayana Sukta, all others are chapters. Sukta is a chapter with hymns. So they are all poetry, and the poetry had to be sung. And in the case of Samaveda, the poetry had singing of Saptaswaras. And of course, in the case of other three Vedas, there are no Saptaswaras, but only three Swaras. The Udatta, Anudatta, and Swarita. So the content, the meaning of the Veda was kept secret, though the chanting was taught to everyone. Because unless you know the Vedangas, you will not be able to understand even one word of the Veda. What are the Vedangas? Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakarna, Nirukta, Chandas, and Jyotish. That is, these 6 Vedangas make it compulsory. They were taught compulsorily along with the Veda. Veda, Vedanga. So, Sanga, Upanga, Vedadhyanam. Sa Anga. Angas are 6. Upangas are the another 6, which are the darshanas. Siksha, while the Angas are Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakarna, Nirukta, Chandas, and Jyotish. The Upangas are Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaiseshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. So, these 6 and those 6, total 12. Sa Anga Upanga Vedadhyayanam. So, in Siksha, you know how to chant the words, sounds. Kalpa, you know the ritual procedures. Vyakarana, you know the grammar, the correctness of pronunciation as well as correctness of words formation. Various words, nouns, verbs, adjectives, and so on. Sentence formation is not important, word formation important. Nirukta is the etymology, the meaning of the words of the Veda. Because the Veda is so ancient, it is running into hundreds and thousands of years that nobody could understand directly. So there were a lot of people like Yaska who gave the meaning in the dictionary, a thesaurus of the words in the Veda. That is called Nirukta. And Jyotisha is the astronomy and astrology. Astronomy means Godadhyaya, the positional astronomy. The movement, the planets' positions at different times, calculation of time with planets and stars, the sky moving. Actually, sky is not changing, the earth is changing. Sky is remaining fixed, but the earth is moving. But it appears to us on earth as if sky is moving. So the planets and stars, they are moving with respect to observer on earth. So how they are moving and what effects they will have, how the Samvatsara is created, how the month is created, how day and night is created, who creates the day and night. Sun creates the day and night. Who creates the month? Moon creates the month. So these calculations which are essential for performance of the yajnas and yagas, because the Veda basically contains two types of activities, the Karma Kanda and the Jnana Kanda, which are well interconnected. It's not that they're totally independent. The Karma Kanda comprises of various types of rituals. That includes simple Agnihotra Karyakrama, which we all perform in our own houses, which we have taught already in the previous course, up to the big yajnas, yagas, Ashwamedha Yaga, Vajapeya, or, Somayaga, Chayana, 40 days, 10 days, 15 days, daily, whole day for 40 days. So various big Vedic Karmakanda rituals exist. And Vedic mantras are chanted in the Karmakanda at different stages and different times for different purposes. Say Somayaga, if you take, it's a 10 days process. And the Veda mantras are used for chanting all the 4 Veda mantras. And the persons who chant those 4 types of Veda mantras, 4 Vedas, are given 4 different titles. Hota, Udgata. Hota is the Rigveda chanter who performs the Havanam. Udgata is chanting Samaveda. Brahma is Adharveda person. Adhvaryu is Yajurveda. Adhvaryu is Adhvaryam, that is total control management of the ritual process. Because the Yajurveda, by its very name, is indicating the ritual process. And the Brahmana Grandhas are giving the ritual procedures like lab manuals. Mantra Brahmanayo Vedaha, that is one of the definitions. Mantra means the original hymns which form the suktas in the Veda text, which are chanted. not written. Recently they are written. And their lab manuals of young Brahmana Granthas, which indicate how to use them in yajnas. These two together are defined as Veda. Then the third, Aranyaka and Upanishads, are also defined as Veda. Because the Aranyakas are those discussions, deliberations, inquiry, deliberations in the forests. People lived in the cities or villages, but the Gurukulas were in the forest. And also the rishis performed tapasya in the forest. So in the forest, whatever discussion, deliberation that they are called Aranyakas, philosophical, Brihadaranyaka, and the core part of the philosophical discussions, deliberations, and instructions of philosophical deep insights, they are called Upanishads, which are filtered Aranyakas. So there is no ritual process in the Aranyaka Upanishad literature, which are purely philosophical in nature. That's why they are called Jnanakanta. Now, in the modern times, I wrote a paper which I have shared with you, which was presented in top Veda conferences, successfully approved, appreciated, and accepted by top scholars. So this paper I'll present today to you as the integrated framework for Veda, science, and Purana. Veda, Purana, and science. Of course, why am I bringing Puranas into picture? Puranas are stories, they're historical accounts, or they're figurative Alankarika, Rupakalankara stories of the processes and knowledge depicted in the Vedas. That's why I'm bringing Purana, because Veda and Purana are together in the sense of Itihas, Purana, Bhyam, Vedam, Upabrum, Hitam, even Itihasa like Mahabharata. Mahabharata is the only Itihasa. Ramayana also some people consider Itihasa, but it is actually a Kavya. It is not a Purana. So Ramayana and Mahabharata are considered as Kavya and Itihasa. And the rest 18 Puranas are Puranas, Shiva Purana, Vishnu Purana. All are authored by Vyasa only. Only Ramayana is authored by Valmiki. So these 18 Puranas and Itihasa, Mahabharata and Kavya, Ramayana, Mahakavya, all these are called Itihasa Purana Bhyam. They are supposed to be the instruments or medium to approach Veda. Veda Upabrum Hidam. Why did they say this? That shows that there is an integration between the Veda and Puranas and Itihasas, and they are not independent, and nor they are controversial. It is a big mistake to think that Puranas are opposite of Vedas. Of course, it is a fact that some Puranas became, or most of the Puranas became prakshipta, that is, interpolated. People have introduced fake content. They have introduced paragraphs and chapters which are fake, which are introduced in later times. Like in Bhavishya Purana, there is description of Mughal emperors like Babur, Akbar, and all that. Obviously, it is introduced. And also about Muhammad and so on. So in some other Puranas, some other things might have been introduced. I'm not denying that fact. Therefore, the Puranas are not accurate. They are not exact. They are modified and interpolated. Whereas Veda was not so. It was not modified. It was chanted exactly, accurately, as it is, but 90% of the Veda is lost. You might have learned by now that we have only a few shakhas left. In Yajurveda, we have 2 shakhas, Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. And in Rigveda and Samaveda, Ranayani Shakha, Jaimini Shakha, only total 8 shakhas are there, whereas around 1130 shakhas existed. And therefore, each shakha had Upanishads attached to it, more than one Upanishad. So today we have with us 108 Upanishads, which will be covering some of them in our classes. And I have given many other lectures on many other contexts and occasions. Nowadays I am focusing on Upanishads only. The question arises, what is the relation between Upanishads and Veda? On one side, we are saying Upanishads are the philosophical discourses. The Veda mantras are beyond any understanding of meaning or interpretation by ordinary people. But we can easily see that the philosophical ideas of the Upanishads are not totally new or totally independent. They are derived from the Veda mantras only. Like say Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, the Mahavakya. It is in the Purusha Sukta, it is stated as Purushayeva idagam sarvam yad bhutam yaccha bhavyam. So in a different way, or in a more abstract way, or in a more mystical way, or in a more profound and more deeper and more mysterious way, the same knowledge of the Upanishads is there in the Veda mantras. Please realize this fact. Upanishads are not totally independent, but they are deriving the philosophical thought, the abstract, mystical, mysterious, occult level also in the Veda mantras and presented as the doctrines like Advaita in the Upanishads. That's why it is mentioned, Yo Vedadau Swaraprokto Vedante cha Pratisthitaha. So in the Veda Swaras, the mantras are nothing but Swaras. It is told, it is declared unequivocally, without any need for any proof or justification. It is declared. That truth, the supreme philosophical truth, has been established thoroughly. Vedante Pratisthitaha. Why Upanishads are called Vedanta? There are 2 reasons. One is there in the end of the 4. That is Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad. Second is, they are the summary of the Veda. When you say Anta, that means total. The knowledge summary of the Veda is there in the Upanishads. Vedante Pratisthitaha. And that Pratisthita knowledge is depicted as doctrines of Advaita, etc. And of course, later on, Dvaita, Vishishtha Advaita also were interpreted from the same statements in the Upanishads. And the summary of the Upanishads is Bhagavad Gita in a popular way. And the summary of the Upanishads is Brahma Sutras in a scholarly manner, polemics. But both Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads are only the summary of the, both Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutras are the popular and polemic scholarly summary of the Upanishads. And the Upanishads are the philosophical essence of the Vedas. So the framework which I was trying to build as a common framework, because today we live in 3 different worlds. The world of religion having 2 parts, the Vedic and the Puranic. The Hinduism, which is Sanatana Dharma, which is being practiced today by all of us, is actually Puranic. Though it has some Vedic part in it, like all the festivals, all the rituals, all the personalities, all the narratives are all Puranic. So we are practicing Puranic Hinduism. Though there are certain core Vedic contents in this Puranic Hinduism. So two worlds of religion, the Vedic world, the Puranic world. Vedic Hinduism is practiced by the Arya Samaj and the Vedic Pandits, Srotriyas, who don't indulge in Puranas. In fact, Arya Samaj is against Puranas. Only Vedas they love. So the third world in which we live today is science, the world of science. You know, we all live in the world of science. We go to the office, we do our jobs are all scientific. There is no role of Veda or Purana in our jobs. They are scientific jobs. And we are performing our professions in the context of the science and the technology, which is the application of science. We all spent our whole life in the world of science. So we live in the world of science. Let us be frank about it. But what is happening? The world of science is limited to our official activities. When we come back home, we are into the world of religion, Puranas and Veda. So three different worlds, three different universes of discourse. And they are independent. There is not much commonality. Of course, between Veda and Purana, there is some commonality, very limited though. The Vedic people, the Vedic practitioners, they will not approve the Puranas, Puranic way of doing things. They say all that is either it is bogus or it is low. In fact, the Karmakanda also, the Puranic Karmakanda exists without the Vedic or without the fire being used. Like if you take Satchnarayana Vratam, Varalakshmi Vratam, Ganapati Puja, there is no fire in it. They are Puranic Karmakanda. In Skanda Purane, Naimisharanye, like this, it will be told. Whereas if you take the Somayagam, Agni Chayanam, or Vajapayam, these are all the Vedic Karmakanda, which are based on the fire, holy fire. So totally different. There is nothing there in the Vedic rituals which is connected with the Purana. But vice versa is not true. In the Puranas, the Vedic rituals and the Vedas are referred with great reverence. To take any Purana, it will mention the Vedas referring with great reverence and respect. And it also says these are the windows or gates to understand the Veda. Puranas, through Puranas and Itihasa, you understand Veda. That's what is statement given there. So these three different worlds, Trividha Tattva, how to deal with them, how to, shall we say they are like that, they remain, let them remain like that. Like most of the people who behave, who are actually scientists. I was also a scientist. I was scientist G. Finally, totally for 28 years, I worked in the National Informatics Center, and before that I worked in the US. Now, the world of science has no role for Veda or Purana. Except that, our ISRO people go to Tirupati Venkateswara Swami and pray before they launch the rockets. Except that, there is no role. And the vice versa is also true. In the Veda and Puranas, both, there is no reference to science. Obviously, because they were very ancient. So how do we reconcile these three apparently independent or actually practically independent domains of discourse? world views, 3 different world views. Trividha Tattva. Samanvaya. How do we do Samanvaya? So for that purpose, I did research and developed what is called an integrated framework combining all the 3 together. What is commonality? I am fond of commonalities and therefore Samanvaya and therefore integration. So in the case of Veda, if you understand the contents of the Veda, I have learned Veda to some extent, very limited extent, from the topmost Vedic scholar, who was the elder grandfather of the present Shankaracharya Vidushakaranda of Sringeri. His immediate grandfather is there, his elder brother. He was my guru, Kuppa Venkatarchalapati Somayaji. The word Somayaji is a title given to person who performed Somayagam. So he performed all yagas and yajnas. I learned chanting from him, very limited, of course. My knowledge itself, let me be very frank, I am not saying by any means that whatever I am telling in my lectures or in this course is ultimate and final and total. It is very, very limited. I consider myself very foolish and very ignorant and very extremely limited in knowledge. If at all I have any knowledge, it's very small, which I'm still trying to share with you as part of this course in the philosophy of Jnana Yajna. This is a Yajna, Jnana Yajna. We share knowledge. But I am neither highly knowledgeable, nor enlightened, nor a Vedic scholar, though people call me all kinds of names. Some people call me Vedic scholar, some people call me Puranic scholar, some people call me Sanskrit scholar. I am not any one of this. But still, whatever little I know, I am sharing as a Jnana Yajna. So in this Veda Rasi, the huge repository of the Veda mantras, which are running into millions, hundreds and thousands. 3 factors are there. The Rishi, Chandas and Devata for every month. So every hymn, every poem in the Veda, all Vedas are poetries mostly. There are 3 parameters, the attributes defined in the beginning. Like if you take Gayatri Mantra, Vishwamitra Rishihi Savita Devata. So Gayatri Chandaha. So the Chandas is nothing but the meter. Like in Telugu, we have Utpalamala, Champakamala, Ataveladi, the structure of the poems. So that is called Chandas. So there is a Chandas Shastra, which is a Vedanga by Pingala. So this Gayatri Chandas, Anushtup Chandas, etc., etc., etc. Every poem should have a meter, right? You can't have poem without a meter. Prose doesn't require any meter. Then we have the Rishi. Who is this Rishi? Rishi is a person who is delivering that mantra. All poems in Veda are called mantras. Don't use the word sloka to the Vedic contents. The word sloka is used only for non-Vedic literature in Sanskrit, like Mahabharata, Ramayana, they are all slokas. But in Veda, everything is called a mantra. So these mantras are delivered by Rishi, a particular Rishi. Vishwamitra delivered Gayatri mantra. And another mantra, Vasishtha Veda delivered, Atri has delivered, Vamadeva has delivered, or Dirghatamas has delivered, or Agastya, whosoever delivered, that Rishi's name will be there. And the same thing is true for the non-Vedic literature of religious nature. Like if you take Sahasranamam, Lalita Sahasranamam, Vishnu Sahasranamam, or Lakshmi Sahasranamam, there also Rishi will be there. And Chandas, of course, also will be there. And finally, the whole thing will boil down to what is Devata. Till I wrote this paper around 25 years ago for a conference on Veda held at Tiruvannamalai, Arunachalam, by one ashrama called Satya Chetana Ashram. They announced a conference on Rigveda, and they invited papers, and they told clearly that unless you tell anything new, don't write a paper. So I put my efforts for 3 months, and I wrote a paper, which is called Integrated Framework for Rigveda, Science and Puranas. So this is what I am shared with you in the group. You can read it, which is also the first chapter of a book on Dharma Yoga. What is Dharma Yoga? The framework of environmental sustenance, which is what I brought out in this paper. So in this research, which I interacted with a lot of people, like a lot of scholars, I interacted, questioned them, what is Devata? So nobody was telling exactly, but they gave their own individual interpretation. Finally, in the Nirukta Vyaska, it was made very clear that Devata means subject. It doesn't mean God or goddess. Of course, a subject can be a god or goddess. I interpret as god or goddess, but subject means so the sun is the subject. Moon is the subject. Brihaspati, Jupiter is the subject. Earth is the subject. Prithvi. Bhu Sukta is there, where Devata is Bhu Devata. Prana Sukta is there, where Devata is Prana. So Yaskar himself says Devata means a subject. He doesn't say god or goddess. No, normally people blindly worship, various devatas without knowing anything. So the subject is what is the devata, which is all the Veda mantras, suktas are elaborations on that subject. Bhu Sukta is an elaboration on Bhu. Prana Sukta, if you take the Prana Sukta in other Veda, it contains the description of prana, the principle of life. A big chapter is there. Similarly, you have the chapters on various devatas. There are totally 800 devatas in all the 4 Vedas put together. In Adhara Veda, the devatas are plants, like Prishniparni or any other plant. So the way of describing is, oh Prishniparni, you will cure so and so disease. That means what? It is a description of the properties of the plant Prishniparni. And similarly, if you take Vayu Devata, Namaste Vayu, Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi, so Bhu Devata, Bhu Lakshmi Devi, Bhu Devi. So this Devi concept or personification as God, Goddess has come in the Puranas, though it started in the Veda itself. In the Veda mantras, in hymns itself, the personification starts, but it gets maximally expanded in the Puranas. Like if you take Saraswati, Channo Devi Saraswati Vajevir Vajinivati Dina Mitrayavatu. Who is Saraswati? Is she a human being? Is she a person? Does she have mobile number? Can I contact her with mobile number? It's not possible. Because there is no such person. But we are addressing her. Channo Devi Saraswati. Why we are saying that? That is a procedure of meditation. We can meditate on anything. We can meditate on Surya. We can meditate on even a computer. We can meditate. You can say, "Oh, computer devata, please work properly." And that's why we have the Ayuda Puja on Maharnavami. "Oh, my dear car, I pray to you, please function proper and help save my life." So we can personify anything, living or non-living also. But it is still a subject, devata. So this personification is part of the alankara, rupaka alankara. We have, upama, utpreksha, atishayokti, rupaka. In rupaka alankara, like, in upama alankara, we say that your face is like moon. It is upama alankara, comparison. If you say your face is moon, then it is rupaka. You are moon. A lot of people, they think that their wife's face is moon itself, not like moon. So that is rupaka alankara. If you say, "Oh, your face is more beautiful than moon," that means it is atishayokti. These are all alankaras, the alankara shastra. In English, they are called allegory. The word alankara became distorted as allegory in English. So these alankaras have been used in a big way in the Veda. Like there is a description of a wheel, Dvadasharham, with 12 major axles and having 720 spokes. Half are white and half are black, and the wheel will keep on revolving endlessly without wear and tear. What is that wheel? It is time, wheel of time. The 720 are day and night, and 12 are the 12 months. So this way, everything is being depicted in an allegoric manner. Like similarly, we have the famous mantra, Chatvari Sringa Trayostu Pada Dve Sirshe Sapta Jihvaraha Roraviti Manushai. We chant this in our Agni Aradhana. When we perform Agni Karyam, either in Griha Pravesham or in any other Karyam, we chant the mantra, this mantra from the Veda, or Agni. Agni is the energy principle. The word ignition in English comes from the word Agni only. So what is such a thing? Who is that animal who is shouting loudly, or who is that entity, Devata, who is shouting loudly among humans, which has 4 horns, Chatvari Sringa, Trayostu Pada, 3 legs for movement, Dve Sirshe, 2 heads, and Sapta Jihvaraha, 7 tongues. So I asked this question, who is this somebody? And that somebody was not able to explain what it is, because the people who chant this, they have no idea what they are chanting. Most of the scholars, pandits, purohits, whom we see around and whom we engage by paying a good amount of money as per their demands, they cannot explain, let alone the whole concept, even one word. So if somebody tries to explain this as Mahankali with 7 tongues, there is no such depiction of Mahankali with 7 tongues and 3 legs and 4 heads, 4 horns. So the only known, to me, the only known valid explanation and one of the explanations to this mantra is language. Sapta Jihvaraha, 7 tongues. Sapta, what are the Sapta Vibhaktis? 7 Vibhaktis are there. 7 ways it can speak. And 3 legs, movement, time. Bhutakala, Bhavishyat-kala, Vartamanakala. And 4 parts of speech. Nam, Akhyat, Ave and Nipat. And active speech and passive. Ve Sirshe, Sapta Jihvara. Active voice and passive voice. That is Atmanepada and Parasmanepada. So this way, I think Patanjali described, or someone else described, language as being depicted in this Veda mantra. So it becomes very enigmatic to explain the Vedas, because every mantra, every sukta is like this. So in the integrated framework, I propounded that all the devatas are subjects of nature, which is same Vyaska has defined. And they are the entities, forces, constituents, components of nature, Prakriti, universe. So they are being described. Medha, intelligence. Om yam medham devagana pitarasyo pasate taya mam adya medhayagne medhavinam kuru. O Medha, make me Medhavi. The same Medha which has made my ancestors and the Devas also intelligent and knowledgeable. Yam Medham Devagana Pitarasya Upasana. They also performed Upasana of that Medha. Taya Ma Madhya. Today may that Medha come and make me Medhavi, intelligent and knowledgeable. So Medha Shakti, Jnana Shakti Saraswati is not a human being. Omkara Panjara Sukhi, Upanishad Udyana Keli Kalakanthi, Agama Vipina Mayuri, Aryamantar Vibhavaye Gauri, Dayamana Dirghanayana, Deshikarupena Darshadaya, Abhyudayam, Vamakucha Vihita Veenam, Vanim Sangeeta Matruka Vande. This sloka I learnt in my babyhood, childhood, is giving the entire secret out. Who is knowledge? Where is that knowledge? Omkara Panjara Sukhi. The whole knowledge is inside, encapsulated inside the cage called Om. There is a parrot inside a cage called Om. Upanishadu Dhyana Kedi Kalakanthi. There is a koel in a garden called Upanishads. The koel is singing coo, coo, coo. Agama Vipina Mayuri. There is a peacock which is dancing in the forest. Deadly forest, vast forest called Vedas. That means knowledge is beautiful peacocks dancing in the forest, huge forest, endless forest of knowledge. That is Veda. And the same knowledge, Saraswati is singing as a koel, cuckoo, cuckoo, in a garden called Upanishads. And same knowledge is a parrot captured in the cage of Om, Omkara Panjara Sukhi. So Saraswati Suktam in Rigveda is there. There, of course, Ambi Tame, Nadi Tame, Devi Tame, the Vak, which is the first expression of Shuddha Chaitanyam, which is knowledge, is considered as divine. And therefore it is worshipped, adored. Worship means not just puja, it is upasana, meditated upon, chanted, thought upon, contemplated upon, analyzed upon, and going deeply. So that knowledge is Saraswati, Devi, Ambitame, Naditame, Devi Tame, greatest mother. Because without knowledge, you are an animal. And knowledge comes with speech. So Vag Devi. There was a story which I read in the newspapers. One person was lost in the forest and he was roaming around in the Mizoram forest for he or she, I think, for 30 years or something. And finally they located that person and she could not speak or hear or understand anything. Our own sisters, brothers who were in the villages and towns, they were able to speak and learn something, but that person in the forest, he was like an animal. It's a fact. If you don't learn language and therefore the knowledge through that language, you will not know anything, you will remain an animal. So this knowledge, which is also use the word with, to know, is personified as Veda. Veda means knowledge only, nothing else. And this is personified as Devi because it's meant for upasana, for concentration, meditation, chanting, absorption, samadhi also. So if you perform upasana on Saraswati, which I performed for long, you will get that faculty into yourself. Similarly, if you perform upasana of any devata, you will get that into yourself. Like if you chant Hanuman Chalisa, you will get the confidence and courage and resourcefulness and command which Hanuman had. If you perform upasana on Rama, you will get the qualities of Rama into yourself. Because it is simulation and it is suggestion, auto-suggestion. You are suggesting to yourself hypnosis, self-hypnosis, to be like that devata, have those characteristics. So that's why the worships, all things came like that. So now I have given you the personification angle of the natural forces as devatas in the Veda into Puranas. In the Puranas, only personification is there. They will be described as if they are personalities who are talking, like, Bhudevata comes and weeps in front of Pruthu with her hair like this. Can anybody imagine how the earth can weep? What does it mean? It means the earth is in distress. It is destroyed and distress. And says, I cannot give food, I am destroyed. Then Prudhu performs certain actions like regenerative, environmental, regenerative steps he takes. And after that, the Bhu Devata starts delivering food, which we are taking. So we can say in Delhi, the VYV Devata was in ICU for some time till the Delhi High Court intervened and gave a court order that diesel should be banned. All vehicles, diesel vehicles should be banned. So that after that, VYV Devata came out of ICU, but is still in the hospital in Delhi. So this is a personification explanation. So like that, the Puranas explain in a personified way so many things. I'm not saying everything in Purana is like that. Many things in Puranas are historical accounts, like Rama, like Krishna, what exactly happened at that point of time. The word Purana itself means history. Purana happened long time back like this. In fact, there were history books in addition to the Upasana, Karmakanda, like Satyanarayana Vratam and so on. So this is the integrated framework for Veda, Puranas and science. Because what is science? Science is also nothing but study and understanding of the forces of nature. Like studying of water is called hydrology, studying of earth is called geology. So Bhusuktam is nothing but geology. If you study the Bhusuktam, among the 5 Panchasuktas, Bhusuktam is there. Bhudevata, Bhulakshmi, that nothing but earth, is being described. And whatever is being described there is nothing but geology, the knowledge of earth. The earth is having diamonds, earth is having this, earth is having metals, earth is having this, so many things can be described. Earth is having fire inside, and so on and so forth. Similarly, Varuna is water. Vayu is, of course, air and any other gaseous substance. So in the Vaiseshika Darshana, the dravyas which are there are personified as devatas in the Veda. Prithivyapastejo vayurakasha dikkala mana atma iti dravyani. Now, a very interesting question that arises. Okay, Prithvi is Bhu Devata, Vayu is Vayu Devata, Agni is energy principle. What is Atma? Atma is also Dravya in Vaiseshika. As much a Dravya, a substance as Prithvi and Vayu and so on. So what is Atma? Atma is nothing but Narayana, Vishnu, Paramatma. So, what is mind then? Can anybody tell what is mind personified? There is a sloka. Of course, you may not know. That's why I'm not waiting for you to tell. I will tell myself. Atma tvam girija matihi sahajara prana shariram gruham pujate vishayopabogarachana nidra samadhisthiti sanchara pradayo pradakshina vidhi stotrani sarvagirau yajyat karma karomi tattadakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. This is by Shankaracharya. What it says is, "O Shiva, I am you." Atma means I. Also means Atma, the Paramatma. You are that. Obviously, Shiva is Paramatma and self. And the Girija Matihi, the Parvati Devi, Shakti, Maya, Prakriti is mind. So, mind personified is Prakriti, and Purusha personified is Atman. Atman personified is Purusha. So, this is the cross linkage, cross reference linkage between the Vedanta on one side, science on the other side. Of course, Vedanta, Purana, all are on one side, and science is on the other side. This is the cross linkage integration between the three. So this is the integrated framework. In the paper, I also gave how others have attempted interpreting Veda. Mostly, they don't interpret. All these billions of people who have learned Vedas and chanted for thousands of years, they never interpret. They simply chant, because that's the safest way to escape from the problem. Because if you try to interpret, you are going to be in deep trouble. So even Sayanacharya, who is the kind of a foundation of the Veda and Vedanga education in the country and the world, around 11th century in the Vijayanagar kingdom. He was the brother of Madhava, Sayana and Madhava. I think one of them became Vidyaranya by taking sannyasa. So he and Madhava became Vidyaranya. So Sayanacharya also says, I'm not giving any commentary to the Veda. I'm only giving the Vinyoga. In his own commentary in the introduction, he says, I'm only giving Vinyoga. That means how to use which mantra in which yajna and yaga. I'm not giving the meaning, because it's impossible to give the meaning, because the meaning is at 3 different levels. That also he mentions. Adhibhautika, Adhidaivika and Adhyat. But let us understand what this is, which is also I mentioned in the paper. Okay, we can delete the Word document and have the PDF. So the meaning is at 3 levels possible for every devata and every mantra and every word also. Like if you take Agni, at the Adhibhautika level, it simply means fire. Agni Mile Purohitam Ritvijam Devas Bhotaram Ratnadhatamam. So what is this? That's why they write fire worship. Whereas in the Arya Samaj, Agni is not fire, it is Paramatma, Omkar. That I will come to it later, first right now. So Adi Bhautika level means fire, that's all. Adi Daivika level means if you extend the concept of fire, we know that fire or energy is in different forms. It is there in light form also, it is there in mechanical energy also, electrical energy also. So we can extend with our scientific understanding that fire is not just fire, it is energy. Therefore, energy principle is depicted by the word Agni. And coming to the Adi Daivika level, that is mantra level, that is Rakara is Agni, Ra is energy bija. If you chant it 100 times, you'll get heat in your body. So there are people who can light a lamp by chanting only Agni mantra. They can lit a lamp. And of course, then we have the Adhyatmika level, which is what the Arya Samaj wants to take up, which is Paramatma, total Paramatma. So Paramatma is also Agni. Agni Mile Purohitam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. So that Agni is Paramatma. But in the middle we have the Adhidaivika level, the Puranic Mantra Shastra level, which is energy principle in mantra level, the vibrations. A level which science has not reached, using which they used Agnayastra, Vayavyastra, only with mantras, no physical equipment was there. So next level, third level is the Adibhautika physical level, which is what science is all about. So every Veda mantra or every Devata will have all the three levels. And of course, the Paramatma level is the highest. So it's an inverted triangle, inverted pyramid. At the top is the spiritual Paramatma level, Omkaram. Middle is the vibrations of the mantras. The bottom is the limited one, is the Adibhautika level, which is the level of science. I gave this diagram also in the paper. So what happened? Sayanacharya, when he told like this, he used his entire commentary on which all our Veda Pandits adore, and some of them are experts. Like 90% of the Veda Pandits cannot understand that also. They will simply chant correctly, and they will be given degrees like Ghanapati and so on. But very few of them will be allowed to learn the meaning, or will be enabled to learn meaning. Only will have the additional efforts put to learn the meaning. And that is only Sayana Bhashya, nothing else. And Sayana Bhashya is given only for Vinyoga, for a Yajna Yaga Kratu Karmakanda purpose. That Sayana himself says, I am not saying that. So nobody has given the meaning. So as a result, Veda remains ununderstood. And of course, the Western scholars, they gave profane and very objectionable and very ridiculous and very controversial meanings deliberately to denigrate the Veda. In fact, Max Muller wrote a letter to his wife, I think, saying that to uproot this ancient religion of India, I went to its root. Root means Rigveda, and show what the root is. So he tried to show, with the help of scholars, he was appointed for that purpose, to show that it is all nonsense. It is all bogus. It contains even sexual things and so many other things, so that you can spit upon. So to uproot, he gave it very clearly his intention, to uproot, to remove from the roots this ancient religion of India. I went to its root and show what the root is. So that means I'm trying to expose that it is all bogus. If then he adds some more sentence. If now the Christian missionaries don't take over India, whose fault is it? So that means he was commissioned, he was appointed by the British government only for this purpose, in order to Christianize India completely through Christian missionaries who are already coming in a big way through the British government channels. And huge lands, the amount of lands were given to them. So in spite of that, if the missionaries are not able to, in spite of uprooting this ancient religion of India, if the Christian missionaries cannot convert into Christianity the entire country, whose fault is it? This is the question he asked in his letter way back, 200 years back. Can you imagine this? This is the kind of level of conspiracy. That's why I support Rajiv Malhotra and all others who are talking of breaking of India forces. So it has been happening for hundreds of years. Till the British government came, until even the East India Company, they had respect for Hinduism and India and Sanskrit and Sanskrit scholars also. In fact, Sanskrit was studied as syllabus in ICS examination, even by Britishers. And Sanskrit scholars were highly respected. And at one stage, before the British took over, an East India Company was there, and even a little before that, in the entire Europe, it was recognized that Sanskrit is the mother of all European languages, and it is the parent of European nations, the motherland of European cultures. So they were respecting Sanskrit and India in a very big way. During the East India Company also, but once the British government took over, they changed the narrative with a three-dimensional fraud, with the Aryan invasion theory, and saying that Sanskrit is not the mother of Greek and Latin, but it's only a sister. So they have the fellow called Mackenzie Papers. He was the first archaeological survey of India head. So they started this conspiracy to denigrate Veda and denigrate India and denigrate Indian culture, so that they can justify their colonization. They gave the Aryan invasion theory to justify the Aryans were whites and we are also whites. They have also invaded, we have also invaded. So in 1942, when Gandhiji gave the Quit India call, Churchill retorted, those who came first should go first. That means you are all Aryans who came first. You go first, then we will go because we came now only. We are also Aryans, but we came just now. We will go later. First you go. That means Indians should go away and hand over the land to Britishers. That is what Churchill retorted to Quit India call of Gandhi. So this is a kind of, depth of the tremendous fraud they committed, and which we are still victims of which. Okay, so I'll stop now here and open it for questions for 5 minutes.
ధన్యవాదములండి. Any questions in chat box?
There are no questions in the chat box. It was all
Okay.
thanks to for the very fantastic lecture today. There are no questions.
Okay.
Yeah, GVS Lakshmi garu.
Namaskaram, Andy.
Namaskar.
Namaste. I just want to ask you one question. Always I have a doubt whether these Puranas are real or you also just mentioned that they are stories. Is it, are they just stories or are they based on some reality or people who existed earlier, who were living earlier?
No, I told you the Puranas have 2 parts. You forgot that. I told clearly there are 2 parts. First part is history. The word Purana itself means history.
History, yes, yes.
So it is referring to the people who lived at different times and events that happened in different times, including Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and even the previous Manvantras, because the present Manvantara is the present 4 yugas, Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga.
Yes.
But this is present Manvantara, the VYV for the Manvantara. Before this, there were other Manvantras. So during that time also, certain things have happened, and some of them are described in the Puranas. That is one part.
Okay.
The second part is this personification. To express, convey a particular scientific phenomenon. They are using certain personification of natural forces, like Bhu Devata, Agni Devata. Surya Devata appeared and talked like this, and Bhu Devata wept like this, kept her hair like this, all that kind of. So, which is it is a mechanism used to convey a particular meaning more effectively. Like we will tell children, we want to tell children, like Panchatantra. What is Panchatantra? Panchatantra is nothing but stories. Those stories never happened, but the principles are valid.
Okay.
Like that, the natural phenomena are described in terms of like Kurma Avatara. What is Kurma? Kurma is, I'm not saying Kurma Avatara was not there. I'm saying Kurma means Kurmongani Sarva Shaindri, attracting towards its own center, its own organs. So centripetal force. So that is gravitation. So Kurma Avatara means Narayana, the sun became gravitation to uphold the earth. Mandara Parvata is the earth. So like, there is a mantra in Sanjyavanam also, Mitrasya Charshani Dhritastamo Devasya Sanasim Satyam Chitrasravastavam Mitro Jananyatayati Mitro Dadhara Pruthivi Mutadyam. Mitra is sun. Mitra Ravi Surya Bhanu Kagapush Hiranyagarbha Maricha Chakra Savitra Bhaskar 11 Dwadashadichal 12 names are there. So Mitra Udadhara Pruthivi Mutadyam, he is holding up the earth. So Kurma Avatara is a story of gravitation holding up the earth, which is directly mentioned in the Veda mantras also.
Okay, I think we'll take up.
I think this was the doubt always I had, and earlier when I was a child, I used to even literally cry when some of my friends used to say Rama never existed. It is only a story, and
No. These, as I told you, Puranas have 2 parts: the historic part and the story part. So historic part is also very much there. Rama very much. They can go to Ayodhya and see where he stayed and where he was born. Everything is there.
So Thank you so much for clearing my doubt. Yes. So it's a sweet way of telling something which is to be followed through some examples and some here and there.
But that is only one part. The remaining part is historic only. The word Purana
Yes.
itself means history. It is actual
Yes.
record. Itihasa means this happened like this. Yeah.
And all the Dashavartaras have really happened.
Happened, but there's this dimension also has to be understood in the what I told, the scientific dimension.
Okay. It's a combination. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We'll take up further questions after the Prarthana, please. Prabhu garu,
Right. Okay.
thank you. Babu garu.
Okay, thank you so much for a very detailed introduction to Vedas, and thank you so much, sir. Tomorrow also we have Vedas.
We'll
Again.
take up questions after the Prarthana, please.
Yeah. Let us have Prarthana. Jai Shri Garu.
Yes, sir. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अधना सधना सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतं सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान् मा प्रमदः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सर्वे जना सुखिनो भवन्तु स्वस्ति हरि ओम
ధన్యవాదాలండి. Let's have Janaganamana now.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हिंद जय हिंद
Okay, I'll continue some of the explanations which I'm giving for the previous question. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you see this question of Rama, Krishna, and other personalities, or even the Chakravartis or the other personalities mentioned. They are very much historic. Let me be very clear to all of you that they were all historic personalities. So, because you can go and verify each and every detail. Like we know when Rama was born, where he was born, under what circumstances he was born, who was his father, who was his grandfather, who was his great-grandfather, who was all the ancestors of Rama. And similarly, his sons, his grandsons, his lineage, his Vamsham, and his actions, his model of governance, all details are there. Even today, like Lahore is city set up by Lava, and his Samadhi is also there in a fort in Lahore right now. People have gone and seen. You can also go and see. And Rama, of course, he died in the Sarayu Nadi. Where he entered Sarayu Nadi is known. Where he was born is Rama Janmabhoomi, where there is a temple constructed now, where Babur has put up a masjid previously. Similarly, Krishna's case also, everything is known. I went to all the spots of Krishna's life, birth to death. Even the death spot I went. So, education, war, politics, every spot I went. So even Rama's spots I went, every spot. So there are no doubts about this. And not only these two people, because these two people are coming from the two Itihasa Kavya, that is Ramayana and Mahabharata are not Puranas. I made it clear in my lecture also. They are Itihasa Kavya. That is Mahabharata is an Itihasa. The word Itihasa means it happened like this. Because Vyasa himself was present. Vyasa himself is the indirect or direct father of all the personalities of the Kauravas and Pandavas. So he was a part of the narrative or story or being described in the Mahabharata, and Valmiki was part of the Ramayana narrative. So it cannot be questioned because they were themselves there, they themselves were actors in the same thing which they were describing. So now about the other personalities in other Puranas. They are also true. There are enough, because any historic personality will have a few parameters for sure. Date of birth, time of birth, place of birth. And all the three are there for all the personalities. And all the three are missing for the personalities in where? In Bible and Quran. So they are missing. Nobody knows. So it is now proven that all biblical personalities were fictitious. And now even the Mecca, which is mentioned in the Quran, is not this present Mecca. There is no such Mecca where there are rivers and gardens and orchards and so on which are mentioned. It is something else. It is maybe Petra or it may be fiction. So the whole story given in the texts of Abrahamic religions are now being questioned or are being dismissed also. But the same is not possible to be done for Indian literature. Okay, and is that clear? And of course, in the Puranas, both the stories of, in fact, the definition of Purana is Sargascha, Upasargascha. That is, creation process is described, destruction process described, and Vamshavadi is also described, the lineage of kings. Of course, our VV Raju will give you lectures on the Puranas. So in every Purana, there are certain minimum requirements. They have to be met. They are met. Okay, next.
Right. There are some questions in the chat box. I'll read them out.
Yeah.
When has scientific method been used, and what are the similarities and differences in the methods of science and philosophy?
Yeah, very good question. See, the present scientific method has the present characteristic. We have all studied the scientific method. We are adopting it in our professions. And you see, the first thing is observation, measurement. So if you have to be able to observe the natural phenomena, whatever it is. Suppose an object is falling down. That has to be observed and it has to be measured with what speed it is falling, etc., etc. Whether speed becoming acceleration and so on and so forth. So observation, measurement, then based on the analysis of the data received in measurement, you will be able to perform a conclusion or deduction or inference. That is, first you have to project a hypothesis. It is like this. Then you have to fit the curve to the data. Like for example, if you take Ohm's law, as the voltage increases, current also increases. That is Ohm's law. So you will measure current with increased voltage measurements on XY axis. Then you will draw the points. Then you will roughly draw a straight line, roughly. That is linear correlation. This is what is scientific method today. And same thing is done in machine learning algorithms also automatically. The machine learning algorithms will learn from data only, like humans have done it manually by inferring certain rule or law. The machine, the computer itself will draw that rule or law. That is called machine learning or artificial intelligence. So now this process is very much clearly mentioned in the ancient scriptures, like if you take Vaiseshika Sutras, he has explained how an object will fall. Like, for example, he says, Nodana bhavat nodbhannatirya gamanam. In our Vaiseshika lecture, I will explain. Without a force, no object will either have upward motion or downward motion. So downward motion means fall, free fall. It cannot fall unless there is a force. He is mentioning that there. And similarly, he's talking of impact objects, like, Nodhanabhigatat samyukta samyogat cha prithvyam karma. Motion in solids will happen either by a application, impact of a force, abhigata, or due to a combination mixture like gunpowder. Samyukta samyogat cha prithvyam karma. Motion in solids happens. So this I'll explain in full detail in my lecture on Vaiseshika. So Vaiseshika is one text. Another, my book is published by the Vedic University of Tirupati, where all the physical principles are described, including gravitation, force, acceleration, projectile motion, electricity, magnetism. Everything is described as observed in universe. So this is one thing. Second thing is in medical science, in the Charaka Samhita, I have read myself, Uha, Apoha, hypothesis and antithesis are mentioned. That is, you observe, you make a hypothesis, then you prove it or you disprove it, or you prove it is wrong. So, Uha and Apoha are the words used. It is mentioned clearly. So, this way the scientific method is mentioned. Okay?
Okay. So the other question is, for mantras, Rishi, Chandas, and Devata are the parts as discussed now. When Vedas are termed that they were neither invented nor written, when such is the case, why Rishi's name will be remembered in such mantras?
Yes. So, good question. The knowledge content in the Veda mantras is apaurushaya, is non-human in origin. But there is a Rishi who is acting as a delivery point. It is not his own authorship, because the subject content is beyond his capacity. He's only a deliverer, and in a particular meter, that is Chandas, of a particular subject, that is Devata. So the rishis, like Bharadwaja, I belong to the Bharadwaja Gotra. That means I have my genes coming from Bharadwaja. Bharadwaja has got maximum number of contributions in the Vedas. Then there are other rishis like Kashyapa, Agastya, Vamadeva, so many rishis. Their Gotras, we are all having. So they were human beings. Like Bharadwaja was the first human being to have acquired knowledge of science. And so they were able to enter into Samadhi sthiti. In our yoga sessions, we will learn what is Samadhi. Samadhi is nothing but deep dhyana, absorption. So in deep meditation, like we do in our home, you go deep into yourself, into the particular stage of meditation. Then you will suddenly get some kind of a flash. Even I have experienced many times. In deep meditations only, at the end of it, I get certain ideas or certain flash of recognizing certain facts or certain realization. That is called enlightenment. So when that I want to express to you or to the world, I have to express in a particular language. I have written down my 4 sentences I told you last time. The 4 sentences which summarize the entire philosophy, I'll tell you next time. So these are the kind of mantras. So there, I cannot say I am the author, because it's not like writing a story or writing a report or writing a newspaper article. It is a sudden flash of enlightenment or realization or revelation. That's why it's called revealed knowledge, revelation. And that's why it's called Shabda Pramana. It is not observed. If it is observed, then it is Pratyaksha Pramana. And if you draw inferences on the observation, it is called Anumana Pramana. Just now I told you about Vaiseshika. Its close associate is Nyaya Darshana, which is actually giving the pramanas, methods of acquiring knowledge. That is, you observe either through eyes or ears or any observation or instruments. Then you perform inference, deduction. Just now I explained the scientific method through a hypothesis which can be proven to be valid from the data. So this is Anumana Pramana. So beyond these two, there is Sabda Pramana. So for subjects which are not possible to approach either through Pratyaksha or Anumana, but that revealed knowledge should not be contradicting the knowledge acquired through Pratyaksha and Anumana. That is an important point. If it is contradictory, then it will become blind belief. So that's what the other religions are ending up doing with blind belief. In Sanatana Dharma, there is no blind belief. Please note this. In Sanatana Dharma, everything has a proof. The proof can be pramana, that is Pratyaksha or Anumana or Shabda Pramana. So subjects which cannot be approached by Shabda Pramana and Anumana Pramana, that is by observation and inference, can be approached through Shabda Pramana, that is Shruti, Veda, heard or revealed knowledge, referential knowledge. And we'll discuss this again in Darshanas level also. Okay.
Okay. The other question is, by far today's lecture has been one of the finest I heard during the last 10 years on Vedas. My request is whether you can give us a graphical representation of Vedas, Upavedas, Vedangas, Itihasas with their interrelationships in a slide.
No, it is there. Those slides are there, plenty of them. I think recently also they were shared, right? Chittibabu, recently we had one diagram giving Vedas, Upavedas, Darshanas on in various groups. It is there.
I think you have given one
Yes.
representation. This.
That is there. That is well known.
Yeah.
That is well known. Nowadays, the good result of social networks is we are getting lot of knowledge, lot of information, which you would have not got even if you read books in libraries.
Yeah. Okay. Then the other question is, sir, is deity worship has been mentioned in Vedas, and when it has come into being?
Okay, good question. See, in this framework where I have shown the integration of science with Veda and Puranas, this is a very important point to understand. Just now I told you in my lecture what is the meaning of worship. Worship means not just putting flowers like this. It is meditation, upasana. So when you perform meditation, when you concentrate deeply, when you perform long concentration is called meditation. And deep meditation with absorption is called samadhi. So when you reach that stage on anything, any object, either physical or mental, you will acquire those properties into yourself, the properties of that object. Suppose you perform, it is very simply understood, Hanuman Chalisa is there. So you are performing meditation on the personality called Hanuman. It's not just the name Hanuman, it's a personality. Atulita Baladhamam, he has got unlimited power, strength. Swarna Shaila Bhadeham, he has got a body similar to a golden mountain rock. Dhanujavana Krushanum Jnaninam Agraganyam, he is the first among the experts of knowledge. So when you are depicting like this, you take one single attribute of strength, courage. What Hanuman did in his whole life is described in Hanuman Chalisa. How he went to Sanjeevani and brought that when Lakshmana was about to die. If he didn't bring Lakshmana, would have died. So he did crisis management. He did a tremendous demonstration of his capability and power and resourcefulness and succeeded in getting results. Not only for himself, but for his master, Swamikaryam and Swakaryam. So all these, when you chant, they'll say, if you read Hanuman Chalisa 100 times, Ya Shatabara Pathakara Johi Jodhe Bandhi Mahasakahoi. If you read it 100 times, what will happen? Tell me. You are getting transformed. You will get that courage. You will get that strength. You will start being resourceful. You will manage the crisis because you will go to Hanuman Chalisa only when there is a crisis. So you will manage the crisis yourself. That is the result of Upasana. Magic. Same thing will happen with other Upasanas. Not only Hanuman, Rama also. Or any other Devata. The word deity in English is nothing but Devata in Sanskrit. So these Devatas are of two types. One is the human forms which are similar to human forms who actually existed. Like Rama existed as a human. He died. He was born and he died. Krishna also was born and he died. But they were avatars, that's a different story. So we take them as role models. Because we know in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Sikshavalli, there was a convocation address. You take role models in the society. A lot of people say, see that fellow, how he is doing and what are you doing? Follow that fellow. They tell, we tell our children also. I was surprised to see that after 20, 30 years also, people are talking about me in my native place or in my childhood place. People are telling, see how he has done. Why don't you do? They are telling their children, grandchildren. So the role model, that these are the kind of people, Rama, Krishna. So people are adoring Vivekananda. That some people told I am like Vivekananda in my speech. And some people told I am like A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So I was surprised. Though I am not anywhere like that, they were feeling like that because some principle is there common. My Vivekananda was my first guru. At the age of 12, I have studied complete works of Vivekananda. So I never met Vivekananda, but by performing Upasana, in fact, in Ramakrishna Math, we perform meditation on Vivekananda himself. We perform meditation on Ramakrishna Paramhansa himself. So that is called Upasana. It is not worship. Worship is a small part of the Upasana. It can be done without worship also, by meditation. So puja is also a type of meditation. Temple visit also a type of meditation. Kirtana is, bhajana is there, mantra is there, japa is there, meditation. All are different types. So maybe we'll cover this in our Yoga Darshana theory classes again.
Okay, Amar Singh ji, all kindly be brief because we are overshooting the time. Amar Singh, be brief.
Sir, simple question.
Yes.
Like we do puja and we do this agarbatti and chirag and all these things. But ultimately we worship in the form of meditation. So which worship is correct? Is this way or that way?
No, what is that, Chidibab? Did you understand what is this?
We worship deities, but which type of worship is better? I think that's what is the question.
No, it depends on you. All finally merge into one. Because you see, what happens, suppose you go to a temple. It's the easiest way, right? You don't have to do anything at your home. You just go to the temple. That is the easiest way. That's why a lot of people go to temple daily. I know a lot of people in Tamil Nadu and others. Every day they go to the temple. So when they go to the temple, what will happen? One archana will be performed.
Okay.
So in the archana, what will happen? 108 names will be described. Correct? Suppose you go to Hanuman temple or Rama temple, 108 names, 108 times that Devta is being described. This quality, that quality. Like Hanuman will say, Lakshmana Prana Rakshakaya Namaha, उन्होंने लक्ष्मण का जान बचाया. इस तरह का वर्णन होता है. If you really hear them, and अभी आजकल क्या हो रहा है? They will chant in so fast speed that nobody can understand anything. That's wrong. They should chant slowly so that the person who is conducting the archana will hear it clearly, understand it. Or you yourself perform archana at your own home.
Okay.
So when you do archana,
No,
you
sir,
are putting
how can a
flower
common
every
man,
time.
like a person who does not know all the shlokas, all the things, can he take meditation and worship the God? Can
Yes, you can just close your eyes and meditate upon the particular Devata, Hanuman or Saraswati, depending on what you require. I'm telling you, I have got results. I have performed Upasana on Saraswati, I got results, very high results. A lot of people ask me whether I have performed Upasana on Saraswati, because that is very evident in my lectures. In Kashi, when I gave a lecture in BHU, they asked me this question. And I have performed Upasana on Lakshmi, I have got results. I have performed, of course, Upasana, Hanuman, all of us, we have got results since childhood. So we get results.
Okay, Pantul garu, kindly be brief. Okay.
Dhanyavad.
Yes.
Namaskar, Guruji. Thank you for beautiful explanation for all the questions. My question is that, can we do Upasana without any Upadesham?
Yes, but the Upadesham will be better. Upadesham will be more powerful. Without Upadesham, you can do Upasana in case you don't have a chance for Upadesham. But you should try for Upadesham, without which also you can do, but it will gradually improve. But better you take Upadesham.
What is the difference between Upasana and Japam?
Japam is part of Upasana. See, Devata Upasana means the meditation on that particular Devata, and Japam is part of the Upasana. There are so many other steps, no? Dhyanam is there. Before Japam, Dhyanam is there. You know, even in Sanjavandram, you have the Dhyana mantra, right? Mukta Vidramaya Manila Dhavadachaya Mogayatri action. So we will discuss that maybe some other day also on various devatas and various upasanas and various purposes. Various results have come and they will come to anyone. I have also given the upasana mantras to some of the participants of the previous batches in various occasions. In our retreat also I have given once. I think in our last retreat in December, I gave a mantras Devata Upasana process training to 3-4 people. And very different Devatas, and abroad also I gave through Zoom also. So I do give that, and because whatever I performed, I don't teach what I have not performed. So whatever I have performed, only that I am teaching. It will work.
Okay. Thank you very much,
We'll
Prabhu
be
garu.
fortunate, sir, to have Upadesham from you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Prabhu, Babu garu, I think now.
I think I suggest you include these questions also in the recording, please. Don't delete them.
Yeah, no, it is there in the recording.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Babu garu, you have to unmute and talk. Babu garu.
Oh, sorry, I got unmuted, muted now. Now, thank you very much, all of you, for active participation. Now, let us close for today. Tomorrow again we will meet. Thank you so much.